Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Chang and today I want to share with you guys some tips that you can use to develop a longer and better answer in part 3 of the IELTS speaking test. This video is kind of a follow-up with my previous videos because I'm going to use example questions from those topics. So if you're ready, let's get started. I'll take the following question as my example. Is it easy to travel around your country? For this kind of question, of course, you cannot just answer, yes it is, or no it's not. They are too short. So, tip number 1, you should add reasons to support your opinion. Yes it is. Vietnam's transportation system has developed in every region in the last decade. Or, not really, it's quite convenient to travel to the big cities, but for the most part, it's not easy to go from one place to another. It's a little better, right? Tip number 2, use examples to expand your answers. For example, yes it is. Vietnam's transportation system has developed in every region in the last decade. For example, you can travel by plane, road, or railway to different parts of the country with a very reasonable price. Or, not really, it's quite convenient to travel to the big cities, but for the most part, it's not easy to go from one place to another. For example, it takes me 4 hours every time I go home to visit from Hanoi, and my city is not even that far away. Tip number 3, talk about possibilities. It is something that you're not sure about, and here are some useful words and phrases that you can use. For example, well, I guess it might be easier to get around my country than it was in the past. One possible reason is that the government has invested a lot of money in the tourism industry in the past 10 years, perhaps. Or, I think it's possible that we don't have enough money in the budget to upgrade the transportation system throughout the country. Tip number 4, discuss the other side of the argument. For example, yes, it's quite easy to travel around Vietnam. There are a mixed variety of modern transportation to travel anywhere in Vietnam. On the other hand, because of lax or no regulation, pricing can be ridiculously high sometimes. Or, yes, it's definitely very easy to travel around my country. However, the more the transportation system is utilized, the bigger the pollution problem becomes. Please note that you don't have to use all 4 tips in every answers. You can just use the combination of 1 to 2 tips as long as you feel comfortable, and that's the most important thing. Tip number 5, if you don't know what to say, make something up. For example, in a recent survey, researchers discovered that there are more than 1,500 highways and railways that were built in the past 5 years to improve the transportation system. Or, the overall condition of railway infrastructure in Vietnam varies from poor to fair. Most of the network remains in need of rehabilitation and upgrading. You know, I had no idea whether that is true or not, but guess what? It doesn't matter. Remember, your opinions aren't important, but how you respond is. Here is the last tip for you guys. Use filler phrases to give yourself some more time. They will be very useful, but it doesn't mean you can use them after every single sentence though. You should save them up for the ones that are more difficult, okay? Some of you might think, what if I don't have any ideas, can't give any example, can't make anything up? What should I do? What should I say? So in this case, even though you can't come up with any ideas, give the examiner a reason. Then you should still try to give some thoughts about the question and try to use tip number 3, talk about possibilities. For example, I have no idea. I've been living in my small town for my whole life and I don't see any huge changes. I'm afraid this is not a topic I can say much about. I suppose that it's getting easier to travel around my country as a result of tourism development. Worst case scenario, you could ask the examiner if you could change another question because hesitation is not very good for your speaking score. And again, use the filler expression I just mentioned earlier to avoid any long silences. Now, let's jump into some example answer for the topic. Describe a time you arrived early.
Should you arrive early?
Absolutely, in my opinion, arriving early can benefit you in many ways, and you will be perceived as a more reliable person to others. For example, if you come to work early every day, you will be able to avoid traffic, maybe catch up on the work from the day before, or even get ahead of priority tasks.
When should you arrive early?
I think you should try to arrive early whenever you can, either to work, to school, or anywhere. If people can arrive early, they will always be more proactive and have better preparation. Nevertheless, it's hard to keep up with it once in a while. Sometimes people might not be able to control of something that happens unexpectedly.
Is time management necessary for everyone or only the young generation?
I think time management would do wonders for everyone, especially for the young generation. I imagine they are constantly up to their ears with school or work, but there are tools to help them out. If they have a smartphone with GPS, they can actually see which is the fastest route and calculate how much time they need to commute to the destination. Last but not least, it's time for an awesome quote about time punctuality. Better late than never, but never late is better. That's all for today. I hope you guys find this helpful. You guys can try to practice answering the questions in the comment down below. I will see you next time. Bye!